Tonight on your news at 10, streets are empty and hearts are broken across the nation after a deadly attack on New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street left more than a dozen dead and multiple others injured. What new details we know about the suspect and where the investigation stands. Plus, a local bait shop owner in Madison shares their expert insights on this season's ice fishing conditions and offers tips for staying safe while fishing on the lakes.
Breezy and cool out there, but temperatures expected to fall even lower. I'll let you know exactly how cold we're about to get and whether or not snow chances remain in the forecast. That's all coming up.
We've got you covered. This is 27 News at 10.
You are taking a live look now at Bourbon Street in New Orleans, where the streets should be crowded with people celebrating the new year. But instead, the area is bare and empty. Just authorities there after a deadly New Year's Eve attack left at least 15 people dead. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Brandon Taylor. Amber has the night off. People are mourning and police are investigating after a driver intentionally plowed into a crowd in New Orleans during New Year's Eve celebrations. ABC's Christian Cordero has the latest.
New Orleans' famed Bourbon Street, now a crime scene as the FBI investigates what they are calling a terror attack on New Year's Day. Federal officials identifying the suspect as 42-year-old Shamsud Din Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen from Texas and an Army veteran.
He also served in the Army Reserve until a few years ago. The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill.
Police say he rammed a rented pickup truck into a crowd of people on Bourbon Street just after 3 a.m., driving 3 blocks before crashing, then getting out and firing at police with an assault rifle. Officials say 2 officers were hurt before police shot and killed the suspect. Witnesses described the scene as gruesome.
What we saw was insanity. I mean, something out of a movie. The graphic nature of it, and it was unbelievable.
Investigators say they found an ISIS flag, weapons, and improvised explosive devices inside the truck. They're now working to determine whether he had any affiliations with terrorist organizations. The FBI says they also discovered more IEDs planted around the area in the historic French Quarter, some of which were deemed viable, according to sources. Officials also questioned about whether barricades were up along Bourbon Street.
This particular terrorist drove around onto the sidewalk and got around the hard target, where he did have a car there, we had barriers there, we had officers there, and they still got around.
Leading up to the holidays, federal law enforcement agencies had been warning local police around the country that vehicle ramming was a top area of concern and to be prepared for these kinds of incidents. Christian Cordero, ABC News, New Orleans.
Well, the Sugar Bowl has been postponed to tomorrow because of the attack. The game was supposed to be held tonight in New Orleans, but will happen tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Time. Number 2 seed Georgia is set to take on number 7 seed Notre Dame at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Tonight, we are waiting for new information from police in New Lisbon after 3 people were found dead in a home on Monday. Law enforcement tells us they are expecting to share an update during their investigation. Right now, authorities are trying to find 47-year-old Virgil Thu, who is a person of interest in the deaths. If you see him, law enforcement says you should not confront or approach him. Just call 911. New at 10, as the new year started in Milwaukee, police responded to multiple calls of gunshots fired across the city. The Public Police Service website logged 60 calls for shots fired or shot spotter alerts, all within just 17 minutes. Milwaukee police warned against celebratory gunfire. Right now, it is unclear if anyone was hurt, but one Milwaukee resident says gunfire woke him up.
About 5:10 after midnight, I heard some gunshots. I was sleeping. Couldn't quite tell where they were coming from.
Milwaukee police say anyone who is caught shooting a firearm could face misdemeanor charges of endangering safety by use of a dangerous weapon or even felony charges. The Wisconsin Elections Commission is set to meet tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The Elections Commission is getting together to discuss the 193 unaccounted absentee ballots that were reported last week. 193 total ballots were unprocessed from wards 56, 65, and 68. The first set was discovered November 12th. That was when a clerk's office employee emptied out tabulator bins. Well, right now, tensions are rising as the vision for a new charter high school in Madison takes shape. Forward Career and College Academy is planned to open in 2026. JT Siskowski has you covered on the school's focus on job readiness and why it's making some parents and teachers nervous.
Just thought, here's a chance to really expand this thing, and that public school system is the way to do it.
This thing is the McKenzie Regional Workforce Center, an initiative run by the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County to get kids interested in the trades.
I just saw these kids showing up that weren't necessarily engaged in school.
And this man is John McKenzie,
owner of McKenzie Apartment Company,
who donated the center's building and wants to open a high school based on the same principles.
We'll actually get them out onto work sites and where they'll have internships and they'll learn from real employers what these jobs are like.
By instituting longer school days for the planned Forward Career and College Academy student body of 600.
I think Mr. McKenzie vastly underestimates the barriers our students face.
Leland Pan is a social worker at La Follette High School. The charter worries him.
Because I think Mr. McKenzie doesn't fully understand the circumstances of what it's like to live in poverty.
He sees students struggling with homelessness and a lack of transportation.
That would have a far bigger impact on ensuring that students can meet the resources our schools are already trying to provide.
He fears a charter, if set up outside the Madison Metropolitan School District, would just add further competition for scarce resources.
Funding following our students to another school that is not under MMSD means less resources to pool to provide course options.
McKenzie disagrees.
I think what's failing there are ideas, not money.
He sees poor educational outcomes as feeding poverty.
I think the easy way to answer that is a job and wealth building skills.
Pan wants McKenzie to base that on conversations with students.
And about what is stopping them from achieving their goals.
In Madison, I'm JT Siskowski.
Well, turning our attention to the forecast as we take a live look outside over Madison as temperatures continue to drop in the new year. 27 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Cameron Hopman is here tracking just how far those temps are going to plunge. Hey, Cam.
Brandon, it is about to get real cold. It's already chilly out there. Temperatures have been on a gradual decline through much of the day. We saw temperatures top out right around 28 degrees in Madison earlier this morning. Since then, the mercury's been on that decline, and right now we're still dealing not only with the overcast skies, but those isolated flurries as well. You may have seen those flurries flying over the last little while. With those northwesterly winds being as blustery as they have been throughout the day, we're seeing that cooler, drier Canadian air mass settle in, and that is why temperatures have taken such a hit as compared to the final day of 2024. Temperatures right now 5 to about 10 degrees cooler currently than we were yesterday at the same time. It's 22 degrees in Madison right now. There's those northwesterly winds, and they are doing their job, driving temperatures lower, and they'll continue to do the same overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning, likely down towards 20 or the upper teens for much of the region, and that sounds cool. But there's even colder weather ahead. I'll let you know how much colder we're about to get. And we'll take a look ahead at Sunday, Monday, with that potential chance of major winter weather for the Midwest and whether or not that will affect parts of southern Wisconsin. That's all coming up.
Well, as we bring in the new year, anglers around Wisconsin continue to fish above ice that might not always be safe for fishermen. Lucas Kim has you covered on what local bait shops are telling people to watch out for this year.
No matter how many times you've been out on the ice, experts say it's always a good idea to review those safety precautions before you get on the lake, whether you're fishing or for other recreation.
This weather that we've had recently has definitely had people wondering what the conditions are out there.
Patrick Hasberg owns DNS Bait, Tackle, and Fly Shop in Madison's North Side and is reminding ice fishers to take precaution while on the ice.
One thing to encourage people to be safe, it would be make sure that you're either with somebody or there are already people out on the ice, especially if you're not familiar with the water. We do sell things here at the shop like safety ice picks, lengths of rope that can be taken out.
As temperatures look to stay below freezing, Hasberg says this may be the best time to ice fish, especially since the fish will begin to rise closer to the surface.
Typically, cold fronts will shut fish down, but like I said, once there's periods of sustained cold, they eventually have to eat, and they will come out and eat, even when it's bitter cold.
And when fishing, whether it's cold or warm, the process all requires a bit of
patience. Sometimes the fish aren't where you expect them to be, and so you got to move around, or you might have to sit in a spot and wait for some fish to come through. But the fish are down there, and they do have to eat, and they will eat.
Local bait shops can be a great resource for fishing tips and other information before you head out on the lakes. Reporting in Madison, I'm Lucas Kim.
Well, today people across Wisconsin have been spending the first day of the new year outside. One of those Walks was held at Mirror Lake State Park in Sauk County. The 1.5-mile hike was part of a nationwide effort to help people start the new year in a healthy way by getting moving and spending time outdoors. A naturalist with Devil's Lake State Park shared with us on why this beautiful lake was formed.
You think we've got these beautiful cliffs, the dam made Mirror Lake, but really the reason why they wanted to make this park like this one in Rocky Arbor is because they wanted people to be able to have a place to rest when they were traveling off the highway in the 60s.
Hikers met for a brief program that was followed by a guided hike on the Echo Rock and Cliffwood Coulee trails. Well, that hike was part of a broader effort to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the state park system. In a statement, Governor Tony Evers says, quote, "Since 1900, our state parks have represented Wisconsin's rich history of conservation and stewardship, while also being a place where Wisconsinites for generations have made memories together. No better way to ring in the new year."